Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, Frid, episode 48. And we're going to start off with listener comments and some corrections from our last episode. So first and foremost, I'm not exactly how to pronounce the name. I think it's Dubs, D-E-U-B-S 420. I think we know the 420 reference. He asked in our RNG in-game channel in the Ragnarok Discord, has anyone tried Alpha 4.3? His alliance just did it. They didn't hit 100%, but one half of the strike team did, and he put out a brag post showing his damage number, and it was a measly 79 million. Woo! That is a crazy number. He is assigned to some of the global nodes, and he showed a beefy Marauder team that was using Magneto instead of Sabretooth. So holy cow. We have done tier 2 in the Greek raids, and we did not get to 100%. So I can't imagine the beating that is a higher difficulty than that. It gets crazy. So kudos to you, my sir. That is fantastic.
What do you think this is tuned for?
Level 85 and tier 16 or something. I mean, it's just crazy how
it's not even anything we have, right?
No,
yes,
no. I mean, the characters in difficulty 2 are like 200k. So I mean, it's outrageous to me. I think it's get whales to spend or something. I don't even know what they're trying to do there. But this feels like the original rollouts of Ultimus 7, where it was just ridiculous. It still is ridiculous in some ways, but yeah.
Yep. That's good. Gives you runway for something later, so.
Right. Okay. We also had some commentary from Captain Albino, and he tried out his Pimtech against Doc Ock in war, and he had a very interesting fight. It was an 18k punch-up plus, I think it was defense up and some other things, so plus a bunch of war room bonuses. He took out Doc Ock and lost everybody but Ghost. And so it was Ghost against 4 characters, and he managed to win because Ghost is crazy with those counters, with the evades, with the healing. So that's maybe not the recommendation I was expecting. I will talk a little more about some more testing than I've done. But clearly, Ghost is a strong player. And that is pretty crazy. I actually did some more testing. Only really got one fight in this week.
All right.
Okay. And so I also did some testing as well. I did a 12k punch down. I don't remember the buffs that were on the Doc Ock team, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I went all in on Doc Ock. I stunned him with Wasp. You do, and that was through the special. Do Ant-Man's ultimate to slow him down, and then in turn 2, I used Ghost ult to then extend those. So he's basically sitting there, can't do anything for turn after turn. And the interesting thing was that when he was stunned, his passive, the crazy mechanic in war where he gains a ton of speed and starts healing and doing all these crazy things, that didn't work. So I was able to take him out dramatically easier. So I don't know if that's a defect. I posted that in the RNG in-game, and there was a couple people that were saying likely it's not a defect, that's how it works. I'm always just kind of thinking of Hela that magically respawns Greg even though she's stunned and slowed and everything. So I think that might, my prediction might even be coming true. And if that's in fact the case, having him stunned and slowed and this passive not working definitely neuters that team quite a bit. So for those of you that are doing that testing, let us know how yours goes. And the crazy thing was in that fight, Yellow Jacket died right away. So I lost a big chunk of the damage, and then I lost Ant-Man too. So I ended up having Ghost, Stature, and Wasp finishing off Doc Ock and then finishing off the rest. And without Doc Ock, they do leave some pretty dramatic capabilities. And then Pimtech is dodge, evade, craziness. So, but more testing to come. But again, if they can feel that niche. We are seeing Doc Ocks all over the place, and that passive in war is just, that's crazy.
So maybe Pimtech reevaluation, maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to keep testing them. So in both of these scenarios, the Doc Ock was not tier 14, so I do think your team has to be a little bit higher. If Doc Ock is in fact T14, you've got to make sure you land that stun from Wasp. So that I think is a catalyst. And certainly if you're facing T15 Docs, I think you're going to be hosed. But I think this is still a solid option in the short term. Again, we'll do some more testing, and if others do some as well, share that info with us. All right, Frid, and I think we also got some reviews over the holidays.
Oh, yeah. So, I think I've covered this before, but the way the Apple, which is the favorite method of leaving reviews, the way it works is they have an iTunes or App Store in every country, right? So they have to create it that way. And then to read the reviews, as far as I know, there's no centralized way to do it. So if I go look on my phone, I will see the US store reviews. But obviously there's people from everywhere. Once it's in the Apple ecosystem, it can be downloaded by every country. The weird thing is that the reviews are country specific. So I have set up methods to grab additional countries, but I guess there were some that I missed. So one of these listeners went to the Discord and said, "Hey, I posted a review a few weeks ago and I haven't heard you read it." And we were like, "Well, what country are you from?" I think he said Sweden. Is that right?
I think so.
So I went in. You got to go look at the country code. I plugged it in. I'm like, I didn't have Sweden. So I added it, and lo and behold, there it was. And the review says, "Great MSF podcast." Oh, the other thing is with this method, you can't tell how many stars it is. But I'm hoping this was good stars. He said, "I was a longtime listener of the Masters of Launch podcast." That's Schuberger and Big Roy Awesome.
Yep.
And when it finished a few months ago, and I didn't know where to turn for my weekly MSS fix. I tried out another MSF podcast, but their style didn't really suit me. A bit too much negativity, which is not really what I want to hear about a game that I'm still enjoying playing. Then I found RNG Endgame and found that they had found a much better balance between positivity and negativity. Lots of good tips and advice, but still willing to criticize the game when needed. Creative and Frid sound like a couple of guys who enjoy each other's company and have a laugh together, which is great to listen to when you don't have any friends in real life that play the game. Right. Keep up the good work. Okay, so thank you for that. And, positivity, negativity, who's who? I don't know. You be the judge.
And that was Ironside was the guy's name. So.
Yeah, it's like yin and yang over here. But it worked. I guess it worked for him, so I'm glad you're enjoying it. And we do try to make a concerted effort to keep it balanced when we can, unless they irate creative enough and then they get a full rage episode. But no, we've really been trying to maintain the balance because, we do still enjoy it, even though it frustrates us sometimes. Okay, then in the Discord also, Death Dave had a question, and he wanted to know, we talk about our parking lot, which for us is like level 60, tier 10, 6664 abilities, right? That's what we call our parking lot level. Just kind of a place where you put the characters, kind of fully functional, but nothing special. And they generally win on tier 8 for Blitz and stuff like that. He wanted to know what are some other parking lot levels lower than that. And actually, a content creator creator, which I don't know who this is, but I found FBW Gaming. Okay, I found this in one of the places that post the infographics. They posted this chart with different parking lots: level 20, level 30, level 45, level 60. Um, just to give you an idea, and then the gear tiers that you should follow. So again, go head over to the Discord and check it out. But if you want characters to be able to do something in the Blitz tier once through 3, so the first 3 levels, you at least want to bring them to, what is it, like level 20?
Yeah,
tier
2024.
4.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like 2,000 to 3,000 depending on stars. And that's a good spot for them to at least win there and get you some points. But it's not going to be lighting the world on fire or anything like that.
And you still need to have, somewhat of a synergy team kind of thing just to help out.
Yeah, you can lose if you really put a scrub team together down there too. But yeah, go check out the graphic. It has these different levels. I do mention in my commentary that they have one level here, 71 gear tier 12, and I don't really agree with the way they have it. And I think, by the time you get to level 70, you're looking at tier 13. You don't want to leave it at 12. And at that point, you can do the T4, so the max ability. So you probably want to do those two. Maybe it was hard to fit all that in on the graphic, but I'd say for most people, that 60 level is a good stopping point until you can figure out what are the teams that you want to take all the way high, like Black Order, symbiotes and stuff like that. Anything else to add there?
No, I think it's a good summary. You always take teams to parking lots. I'm a little less apt to do that, as I've talked about some teams that have embarrassed me in terms of looking at my roster, but I think that's a good one. And for newer players, that's still pretty high up there. So something in the level 45 gear tier 8 is probably, a better parking lot for the early to mid game players. Okay.
All right. I think Creative, you had a correction that you wanted to
Yes. So bug report for me. I incorrectly reported that basic abilities in the PvP mode did not count towards the objectives. And right away, Dante9 and Cap'n Hoppy jumped on Discord and said, I don't think you're right, and provided me some information. I went back and tested, and they are in fact correct. That is not the case anymore, and I say anymore because I could swear that this was the way it was when it first came out, because I would struggle just getting 2 abilities off for some of these characters that don't have both their alt and special available in those first 2 turns. But either way, basic abilities do count, so apologies on that incorrect information.
Well, that's good. Now, the summons and stuff, that still does
it,
right?
Yeah, summons and clones and all those still do not count towards those abilities, nor do they count towards the takedowns, unfortunately.
Well, maybe they'll keep tweaking with the formula.
Yeah, and even when you kill somebody and they get res back, you don't get credit for killing it. It's only what happens at the end of the match, too. So,
okay.
Yep.
I haven't been paying too much attention to what counts and what doesn't. So.
Yep. We're autoing quite a bit of it, and I don't think we'll go into it this week. But I actually haven't been listening to a lot of content creators or other things. I went and listened to a lot of stuff this week, and man, there was a lot of negativity on PvP, which we've talked about. It's an auto fest. It's not exactly what we were expecting, but maybe in a future episode, we'll see some further details from what Scopely wants to do with the game mode. All right. With that, let's switch over to gearing and leveling, otherwise known as talk about Frid's roster.
Except you're going to kick us off this week.
Yes. I'll talk this week. So I finally got to level 80. That extra XP boost on the ISO campaign certainly helped. I even spent a little cores just to help me get there a little faster. I was actually starting the day at rank 36 or so in the arena, so I was getting quite paranoid. And so now the Black Order team is all level 80. Um, and then, of course, once I get those T15 geodes, Thanos will be T15 as well. So we continually talk about the arms race in arena. I see the original whale in my arena shard has 3 characters on the Black Order that are tier 15. This is the same guy, like when Power Armor first came out, he had them right away all leveled up and was doing that in arena. So I'm starting to see more and more T15s, particularly on Thanos. We would certainly recommend that to help you stay higher. So that's one bit. And then Skilletary, the new members, Red Guardian, Yelena, and then Merc Soldier, who never got attention before. All of those are parking lot. And then the Dad Bros are parking lot. And I threw them together on a Blitz team to help with the Covert Ops milestones to get wins with military teams. I'm using them still as just once I lose to get back up. I have played them a little on 8.3. They're, for the most part, they win, but they definitely win on 8.0. And then finally, the Wave 1 Avengers are almost to the parking lot.
Oh my God.
I had to divert to get Black Order up for a day or two, but Wave 1 Avengers will be at the parking lot by the end of this weekend. And I will say that the 4 Wave 1 folks, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, plus Shield Trooper, win. And they're not even parking lot, and they're winning on tier 8 all the way up to 8.3, which I was quite surprised. So they are fairly consistent. And again, right now, because of the military aspect of Captain America, I'm using them once I lose. But that means I've added 2 Blitz teams, so I'm almost as many teams as Frid, but not quite there. And then, of course, they just keeping the focus on getting that roster a little wider. And then I have grand plans for some mutant characters. So that's my quick update. Frid, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know that I have much to report this week. Just progressing through the plan. I did take Yelena and Red Guardian to tier 12, level 65.
Wow.
Yeah, so a little bit stronger. I put the T4 on Red Guardian and 2 T4s into Yelena and Soldier, maybe? I think I did. I was spending them finally. I had like 4,000 of those things.
Wow.
So they've, punched down on mercs in war, using Captain Marvel as the member because I kept Killmonger in with the mercs for defense. But I haven't tried them against Doc Ock to see how they do. And then in Blitz 8.3, it's not a slam dunk. They win most of the time, but every now and then they have challenges. So I haven't done any T4s on Punisher or Killmonger for Blitz purposes. I don't know that I will, but I don't know yet. I mean, it is another team that can kill mercs, which we needed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what to think. I mean, same thing I said with X-Force, but then everybody's like, we need X-Force, to kill things in war. Once they're big enough, then they kind of become online. So maybe that's what is happening here. They're about 288. So let's see when I push them over 300 and then the stars are low on Yelena and Red Guardian. So more experience needed. So I'll leave it at that. Suspense.
Yeah, we're also not buying characters like other content creators. And so we're starting out where most in-game players would be, which is 4 and 5 yellow stars. And then we're trying to go against 350, 400K teams. And this team just does not seem to punch up as much. So this is a theme that you'll hear throughout this episode of these new characters look awesome on paper, but until you get them to 6 and 7 yellow stars, it's really hard to use them.
that's what's happening. You're trying to go against the Marauders that has been fully invested into, has lots of stars and stuff, and it's like, well, what are we supposed to do against this? So
Yeah.
even things that are mid-size, they've been better invested. They have more stars, so it's tricky. But more to come. I'm still a believer in the team. I think there's potential. Just gotta keep probably learning the fights as well. Well, who do I hit first and all that stuff. The other thing I guess I'll mention, we talked last time about tier 15 and what was I going to do and which characters, and there was a debate. We went back and forth, and I think I've made my decisions. Okay? So
Okay.
for Mutant, I'm going to do Emma Frost. So I got her to 6 red stars this week, and I'm just waiting for the materials now. She's already level 80 and everything. So Sinister I'll do at some point later. The other question was on skill. There was Baron Zemo or Proxima Midnight. I'm still going to go with Proxima Midnight just for arena purposes. Again, I don't see that changing anytime soon. She's more expensive, but it's part of the cosmic lane anyway. A lot of people do her. So it'll delay my start with Global, but it's like a time shift. I don't think I'm gaining anything, It's not like you get tier 15 materials from the early nodes or anything. What you're getting is gold, which I'm doing okay on. Other one was Doc Ock. I did take him to 15, so now I have 2. I have Thanos and Doc Ock. And finally, on the bio side, I'm going to do Symbiote Spider-Man. So I don't care. He's more expensive, but he's more powerful, and I use him more anyway. So still waiting on materials for all of these characters. So, because they're just 72, very expensive.
Well, and we get so many each week, so,
It's getting close, super close.
Inching closer and closer.
It's like I can feel it, but you just gotta wait for things to appear. So I'm assuming in a couple of weeks, if I'm lucky, I may be able to start Dark Dimension 4, only to get stuck immediately in the global portion. So
yeah,
no rush really. It's okay.
Okay, good stuff. Any other tidbits?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Spending 2.4 every day, just consistently. Keep working through the plan.
Hasn't that been so nice?
I know, right? It's
my gosh,
freedom.
So nice. Woo. Glorious. Okay.
I do feel like my gold balance is still kind of high, so I don't know what's going on. Are we getting more, or?
Well, we certainly are getting more across the board because of PvP and other things, and then of course all these events we're getting a few things. But I've been opening gold orbs because I need seed theory, enhanced behavior theory for all these events and their stupid orbs. So I've been opening gold orbs. I'm actually quite a bit lower in gold orbs than normal, but still plenty of cash compared to others in our alliance. Okay.
All
right, well, let's switch gears and talk about the news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And there was a ton of hubbub just a day or two ago that we were getting some massive blog post, and it was hinted that it would be like a roadmap blog post, and we didn't get all of that. So
no, I want a letdown.
Yeah, so we were all excited, geared up.
We're gonna have a strike time is back. We're gonna have all this stuff. We were like, all right, we're gonna have a 3-hour show. I told you with all that we're gonna find.
Yeah, so that didn't happen, but we'll talk through the strike time. We'll talk through the blog post. I do want to call out Tana is back at it again, trying to vie for all of us to have more save squads, or in his case, he would also settle for Gambit. But he is doing memes every day. Last time around, he was doing bad drawings, intentionally bad drawings, to get more save squads. So give him some support. We all need more saved squads. So keep the good work going, Tana.
There's already more characters than save slots, and that's just in general. Not even like when you start thinking about each mode and what you want to have.
Yep.
Customized teams for each segment of the game. So come on, guys, let's get this done.
Yep. So yeah, we continue to vie for that, and hopefully everybody does as well. But Fred, you had more time. We're hot off the presses here, right after the blog post and the strike time. You got to weed through a little bit more than I did. Why don't you talk about some of the things in there?
Sure. So I think the biggest news probably included in here was that a new raid is finally coming in February, which is just a couple weeks, a week away.
Well, we don't know when in February.
Right.
So.
It just said February. I'm sure it has to be with the patch. So whenever that is. And then it's called the Doom Raid. So I guess Ultimus is no longer our foe. And now Doom has taken over. You have Doom War. You got him in DD4. Maybe he's the bad guy now. And one of the things that they're doing is that the way that the raid is going to work is the nodes will be trait specific and in a particular order too. So a trait or maybe they call it trait. So that's bio, skill, tech, mystic, and mutant. And in that order. So what I'm assuming is the earlier nodes are bio, and then
it's different for each lane, but they follow a pattern like that. They said that that allowed you, if your particular roster was weak in bio, you could pick the lane that starts with bio. If yours was particularly weak in mystic, you could start there. So I think there's probably 6 or so lanes, then they have different orders to those, so that way across an alliance you can spread the love on who's got the best roster and who can tackle what.
Yeah, the thing with these is that there is no team that I know of. Oh, maybe there is one with the same trait that's specific for raids, right?
Yeah,
We'll talk about that in a second. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other features. They said it's harder than U7, so it's endgame content. And it's going to be the first raid that's going to feature opponents or enemies with ISO 8. Woo! So, what do you think this is going to be like? The pain train.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We're talking about I guess you think it's going to be like a Greek raid because of the traits?
Yeah, this is an overpowered Greek raid is what this is. This is not an Ultimus raid, which is just strange. And then you think about bio. And certainly Inhumans fit in that. I think maybe except for Karnak, maybe he's not bio. I can't remember. He's skill. So the problem is if you go across any team, none of them are all one trait. Even Pimtech, you think it's all tech, but we talked about stature as bio. So I struggle. So you're going to have to do, a bunch of mixed match teams like a Greek raid, which that's certainly harder. Plus they're going to have ISO 8, whatever this tier 2 stuff is, they're going to be tier 16. It's going to be pretty rough. And then to make it even worse, I looked at the boss nodes in the picture. Did you notice this? Who the bosses are?
I didn't.
Doc Ock and Emma were the first set of bosses, and they didn't show you the end, which is likely going to be Doom. So they're bringing out the rough characters for sure.
Yeah. The other thing I didn't mention is the keys that you're going to need for this are going to be the same as the Ultimus keys from today, and they're actually renaming the currency to Ultimate keys. So basically you have to choose, do you want to do Ultimus or do you want to do Doom? It's not like the Greeks, which is a separate set of currency.
This makes sense. I mean, otherwise we'd have 3 raids. I mean, that 3 sets of keys, that's crazy. So this is clearly, a path for the whales to go spend some cores and try to be the first and all that. And for the rest of us, we'll figure out when we can get in there. And once we see the numbers, we'll do the same kind of stuff that we've done in the past of comparison of Ultimus versus this in terms of rewards and the tiers and all that kind of stuff. Yep.
But as we mentioned, there is a team that is all mutants and it's geared towards raids. And that is the Astonishing X-Men with Jubilee Legendary. So I suppose this is part of what the reason for this team is, to help with this particular raid.
Well, it's as if Scopely listens to our show, because we said we already have good raid teams. We don't need another raid team, and then they give us an overpowered raid team, or looks like it's overpowered for this new raid. However, you can only use them for part of it, which is kind of strange. So
yeah, so I wonder if some of the toughest nodes are going to be mutant. Problem here is going to be, it's going to take, what, a year to have these at 7 stars, unless you spend money. So for us, it's just going to be forever before we can have these characters at a level that are competitive in a raid like this. Not just stars, but level, gear, everything. So we'll see how it all goes. It's going to be interesting to see when this comes out. It'll probably take us a while to get there.
Yeah, but, I mean, on that same theme, I don't think we're going to even be able to use these new X-Men in U7 because we're on 7.5. So I talked about we'd have this theme throughout of it's all these characters are coming, they look strong, but we can't use them in the in-game content for 8 months.
Yep. So it will be some alliance mates will be itching to try and pushing us to do it, and then we get to 22%. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is so hard." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why we wouldn't want to try it." But we'll let the whales try first, right? That's what we normally do. Okay, so another thing that was in the blog post was some information about how we can get our hands on the characters that are required to unlock Jubilee. Remember, that is Pimtech. So they gave us 2 that are gonna go. So the other 2. So we know that Ghost is in the War Store, which didn't have anything we wanted in there, right? I mean, it's a barren store where there's nothing useful, and we have currency for days, right?
Right. Sure.
Man. So we were 0 for 2 in our predictions, creative here. I was looking back, and first of all, Stature, we thought was going to go into, I think, the raid store, right? Because it has been months since they put something in there. But actually, she is going to Cosmic 1-9, which is super early, right? I mean...
Yeah, it's mid-game.
It's like the 3rd thing you open, no? Let's see. You do Heroes, Villains, Nexus, then Cosmic? Maybe the 4th? Yeah. Someone in the middle. Early middle. But round 1-9, replacing Shocker. So I guess Shocker has fallen out of favor. Maybe he has another node. I'm not sure. And then Yellow Jacket, we thought he would not be farmable, then they would count the Battle Pass as the farmable. But he is. He's going to go into Doom 3-6, which, if you remember, was where Graviton was thrown into. And we were like, this smells like placeholder. And that's exactly what he was. Yellow Jacket's going to go there. So, what do you think of these 2 things, these 2 characters getting added to nodes?
Well, so we still don't know the timing of the farmability. We don't know the timing of the event. So they can say they're going to be farmable, but we really don't know. Thankfully, I need like 11 shards of Yellow Jacket. So if he's actually farmable beforehand, this is good news that they have bucking the trend of making a legendary character paywalled. In a sense, I mean, still putting a character in the War Store and these things make it tough. But this is welcome news. But I do continue. What is wrong with the Blitz Store? What is wrong with the Raid Store? I mean, it has been many, many months. We talked about August since we've had characters there. So I don't know what's going on.
How long before they got to put something in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not like they're going to put Iceman in the Blitz Store. They're not going to... Maybe finally Beast goes to Blitz Store? I don't know. So...
They did mention that Beast was going to go into... It's going to become available somehow, and then more information is coming. That's all they said. So he may be the one they throw into a store. Maybe they're rethinking the store concept. I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah, so I'm just shocked that, again, no news on those fronts. And
I mean, I
so,
think stature was as good as any to put in a store, right?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's not like a make or break character. She's like made for the Blitz store.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Very strange, very strange.
Yep. Okay, and then the last thing that was newsworthy was that the Jubilee kit was fully revealed. And the fifth member of the Astonishing X-Men, which had been rumored and kind of leaked, and they even leaked it, is Bishop. So I remember seeing him in that 90s cartoon. He appeared, he's like a time traveler. He was from some other time where I guess something went wrong. It was like a dystopian future kind of thing. Again, don't quote me on
It's similar to Cable in that he's from the
Marvel
future,
lore.
and the future is a bleak place. But he's considered a good guy. He joins the X-Men to help prevent that future.
So I did not dive into these kits. All the information is out there. Again, the Jubilee abilities look like walls of text with lots of stuff. There's raid-specific items. Did anything on your quick review catch your eye here, creative, from these two characters?
Well, so we kind of knew that Bishop was coming from that Facebook post, but we didn't know how integral or how intertwined he and Jubilee would be. They give each other a bunch of buffs. We didn't realize that Bishop was going to be a tank blaster, which is kind of strange. But he looks, so I think in the strike time they talked about, he has the shortest cooldowns on specials and alt. I think it was 2 turns on an alt. So I want to look through Beast, Iceman, Kitty Pryde, Bishop, and Jubilee just to look at them. But just thinking about them overall, they've got slows all over the place. Jubilee is going to blind on her basic. Plus, you're going to be speeding up when things die. So, I mean, they got a lot of really cool mechanics that we've seen with symbiotes. I mean, way back in the day with, Minerva doing some speed up things. So, I mean, overall, looks like a very, very strong team for sure. I'll certainly want to see them in action, but just thinking about their kits is just it's my kind of team in that they do a bunch of healing in different scenarios. They apply evades and then they slow like crazy. So very control-y team. And then it seems that Bishop is going to bring the pain. He's going to be a big damage part of it.
Yeah, there's some interplay with Jubilee and Beast where she heals and speed, so then he can also go and I think gives energy. There's all kinds of interactions that we need to kind of dive into, but the information's out there, so I'm sure theory crafters are trying to figure out how this all works. I mean, there's no theory crafting in terms of what team they go into. They're kind of
right, very
already
set.
made for each other, but how it all works. The whole thing with Bishop and he wasn't necessarily slow, I don't think.
He and Iceman are the same speed.
The low cooldown is very interesting on these abilities. So,
well, they're not generating energy except for Jubilee giving Beast some energy. So I think that was I didn't see energy generation. So I think that low cooldown is kind of required then to make them there. Otherwise, you're trying to do a BTK scenario, throwing some kind of energy generator in there. Because that's the big thing about raids.
Or Thanos or something to get energy flying.
That's the key thing about raids is you got to cycle through all that stuff. So
right, even like Merc Lieutenant and them, there's energy flying. But okay, yeah. Cool, quick cooldowns though. Think about Emma, how powerful she is, and this is even quicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, curious to see how it all works. No information on dates or Bishop release method yet. Hopefully not
another blitz. Which would be pretty horrible, right? Because all of them would be a blitz and they're all going to be, 4 stars. So further proving our point. But anyway.
It's going to be Event then, right?
He should be, but are they going to really give us a character like that?
What?
Oh, I hope so. Fingers
PvP?
Crossed.
Maybe? That would be worse.
No, that'd be worse. It's 45. So
they talked about that being a possibility for release method consideration. So
yeah.
Anyway,
Speculation for days. We just ramble on here.
yeah, it's just like, why can't they provide the info, right? Is
Yeah.
it not finalized, or they just want to keep us in suspense? I don't know. Okay, with that, we'll move on to run the numbers. And we got a new event creative that came out, and it's the Covert Ops. I think we mentioned it last week that they yet another event to give us stuff, and using the military characters. There's 9 of them total. I actually had them all at a decent level. Did you find the same thing with your
No, because I was
roster?
taking up Captain America and the new ones. So I just took them up for this event more than anything else, so I can get them in Blitz.
Okay, so that's interesting. So maybe not everybody had, because Captain Marvel, I had done Winter Soldier and some of those already. But in any case, I found them to be decent in terms of power. But for an earlier game player, it would be tough, especially with the new ones. Okay, so there's 9 of them, and you can use them in different game modes to try to get bonus points. So, for example, in Arena, if you were to use them, you would get 15 points for each. But obviously, if you're an endgame player and Arena is full of Black Orders, you're not going to do that, right? Because it's a loss. Unless you're throwing away a match, right? And you just want points. The other place that you can use them and get extra points is in the raids. Now, I've heard some people say, well, if you're doing Ultima 7, you can throw symbiotes with one of them. Or if you are in the Greek raids, try to fit them in the different lanes. Let me ask you, have you tried any of this, or are you just playing it straight?
No, I've thrown them in. So we have Cosmic and Global. I don't know any of them that are City off the top of my head. I'd have to go look here in a minute. But I do find Punisher. There we go. So one for Punisher, one for Cosmic, which is Captain Marvel, which really, really stinks. So I would run Captain Marvel in all of the Cosmic lanes with 4 Black Order. And then for the global lanes, again, I don't have any of these guys that high. I would throw in War Machine, and if it was a shared node of Cosmic Global, keep Captain Marvel there and put in some different characters. So yeah, I'm running at least one on every node, except for I think one of the later boss nodes.
Okay. Yep. So that gives you additional points. And then finally, the last way that you can get points for using them is your all-time favorite of Blitz. And you would get 5 points in there for Blitz for using these characters. Okay, so what is our recommendation here for what to do in order to maximize? It's a daily milestone, so it resets every day, and you have to get to 2020 points. Okay, and I've seen, by the way, creative, a bunch of different calculations.
Oh yeah.
And I think the challenge here is that it's so roster dependent that anything that we tell you is just a ballpark. You have to tweak it for your particular needs. And I saw some that said if you're blitz heavy, this is what you do. If you hate blitz, then this is what you would do. Anyway, our recommendation, your arena, you would just run it normally. You're not doing anything military there. So actually, we have 6 attempts, so you got to use a few cores here, and that gets you 180 points. For the raids, we have each, the Greeks and the Ultimas, you running a total of 19, so 10 in one and 9 on the other. And you're using, is it 6 military?
Yeah, I mean, again, I probably used a little bit more, but we went conservative and just said you do a bunch of the early nodes in the Greek raid, so your first few nodes, 5 or 6 of those, you can use one of the military characters.
Right, because I in Ultimas, I'm afraid to do it at 7.5.
Absolutely. No way in heck.
It would only be if we're not going for 100% and it's like a throwaway at the end. Then you could do that. But we'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, so that gets you, looks like 470 additional points. So then a ton of points left for blitzing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the way we ran these numbers, you have to win 22 matches and run a full 8 cycles, and 8 military characters have to be in there and win on the 8 cycles. And this mixture I just told you would get you the 2020 points, which is an absurd amount of work. You have to be perfect in Blitz. That's even if you have 22 teams, which may not be the case. So overall, we think this is pretty difficult, or it's going to be for most people. There is one way that you can
cheese the system.
And you can increase your point total. Are you ready for this? You would have to not sim Blitz.
Oh no.
Oh my god, I'm getting a cough here. I can't even. Running the old school way. You can still auto, but you would have to go into the match, wait for it to load, see the characters do it, and see the outcome. And you have to win. But it gives you almost double the points that you would normally get.
That's
so
crazy.
It could cut 3 cycles out of this operation if you use manual blitzing. And just to mention the point here that we are noticing that this differentiation between simming and manual was very close at first, and it's been widening to the point now it's almost 2-to-1 between the old-fashioned way and the sim way.
Which shouldn't be the case, right? I mean, manual is 6 cycles a day, auto is 8, so it shouldn't be anywhere near that high.
It's crazy, though. There's a lot of blitzing with a lot of teams, and you have to be perfect to get the 2,000 points.
Now,
so of course,
sorry, go ahead.
No, that if you want to get more of something or another, then you would have to maybe talk to your alliance about lowering raid difficulty if you don't have these many blitz teams, and for a little bit sacrifice your rewards from the Ultimus and Greek raids just so that you're able to run the military characters through.
But is that really worth it? So let's talk about the rewards if you can.
Yeah. Yep. So they talked about the new Armory T14 and T15 orbs, and they did appear in the game. So the T14 is very clear. You will get 3 of the mini uniques per orb. So left, right, and center pillar will drop 1. The T15 orb is confusing because the text says you'll earn 4 items, but when you go inside, there's only left, center, and right. So I'm not sure how we're gonna get 4 of those. What are they being called? Micro uniques or T15 uniques or superior 15?
I just refer to it as T15 gear.
Yeah, one of the 10 that you'd need for tier 15.
Yeah,
we're assuming it's 3.
Yes.
So these orbs appeared, and I had told Creative as soon as I saw them that every one of these daily milestones, you're going to complete them, and you're not even going to get 1 of each.
I thought, no. They're going to give you like 4 of these orbs. We need so many of these T15.
There's going to be 15 in the milestones themselves. It's going to be...
Oh, yeah. Showering us down.
So there is no T15 in the milestones themselves. And you get a total of 2/3 of each of these orbs for completing all this work that I just described. Not even 1. So for once, I was the pessimistic one, thinking this is going to be terrible. And I actually was right. I think it was only from an economics perspective that I see the offers that they have and how scarce they're making these.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured they wouldn't give that many for an event like this. When I saw the work needed, I thought, well, maybe, but even then, it's not even enough. So by the end of all this, it's 10 days of doing this nightmare. You're gonna end up with 6 of the orbs, which should give you
Okay.
18 of those tier 15
Well,
pieces.
we think it's 15, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. Sorry, 18. 18. I was thinking of something
Well,
else. Yeah.
could be 24 if we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
4
But
somehow, but
it's 18 because of the
15.
warps, yeah. So 18 of these pieces, and it's not like 18 of one. So you could get. I need like geodes for days. You're not going to get 18.
All of, like this one you don't need.
So let's riff here for a second because this had a lot of negative reaction across the community. It's event after event, and yes, we're doing a lot of this, but we're not doing. I mean, this is going to cause us to do extra and do things different. So it's not like we're just getting free stuff for doing what we're already doing. But is it me, or are these events getting less and less rewarding as we go?
I think you're right. And I heard somebody, it may have been OMG, say that he wanted to change his terminology, right? We call it free stuff. It's free stuff, right? But it's not free. I mean, this is extra work. Free would be, you do what you do every day normally, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
this is, you got to go kind of out of your way to make this whole thing work. That's not free. That's effort, and you got to pay attention. So he's calling it bonus. Not free, because
Yeah.
there's work involved. And yeah, it seems like the frequency of events is increasing, but the generosity is decreasing, right? Remember, which one was it? The one in the sun, the summer one?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Was
Oh,
like
yeah, that was
not
so
that
good.
long after when DD2 or DD3 was beaten, then we started getting more mats. It wasn't immediately, but it was a little while after, and it's already. Someone was reminding me it's been well over a month since DD4 has been beaten, and we still haven't seen announcements on that either. I think they're still trying to get what's his name. Yaz, I forget what his name is, but Scopely fixed prices to change his name.
Well, that's true. Everybody thought this blog would have some
Yeah,
information,
it's
but
been a long time, so we were
I think they're
expecting
waiting.
announcements there.
They're waiting to make it seem like it hasn't been defeated, but you can go
Yes.
look.
Oh, lots of people now. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I was thinking of. I was trying to remember the series of events, and things kind of just run together, particularly now. But I mean, it feels like so you had gotten into DD3 well before me, and you had to do the same slog of getting the mini uniques, the T14s. And then after you got through and were pretty far away through, then all of a sudden it was event after event where they're showering us down things. So I still think we're ahead of that typical kind of scale and curve that, people like you that are, prepared and focused, and you haven't even gotten in yet. So I still think I was still hoping for a lot more, but I think we're in this kind of one or two mat kind of thing now for at least another month or two.
Yeah. And for the record, I mean, I technically, if I picked some lower characters, I could get in, but it all seems to point towards there's no real reason, right? You're gonna get choke point at some point anyway, so it's not like it does any good to try to get in. Like, I think with DD3 that made sense because it took so long, and but here it's like there's no real reason, so I'm just upgrading characters that I use anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna take another cycle or month to see more until eventually they make. I mean, how long did it take for these things to become farmable in that Doom
Gosh,
War campaign? That
that
was
was
a while.
crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
But we at least got more of them in the events where we were getting 10, 15, all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, maybe with the Jubilee fanfare, there'll be an event and there'll be some in there. I hope.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, we're being a bit negative here because, again, this was a bit disappointing for sure. For me, I will say all of these events, while I complain about them, have been giving us a lot more training mats. And that is the only reason that I'm able to keep spending. I always have restrictions on that, but because we've been getting these events, because we've been getting all these extra training mats, I have been able to do so much with the roster. So while this is disappointing, I'm seeing ABCs in here, another big choke point. I see training mats and all this other stuff. So, we got to the top tier on the first day. I was surprised, I was shocked and amazed that I did, but I did do extra in raid. I did do extra arena attacks. My blitzing wasn't that great though, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can keep that pattern going.
Right. So you're like going out of your way to do
Yes,
this, make
very
it
much so.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're thankful that events keep coming, but I don't know that they need to be this hard for the rewards that are not that great. But what can we do? Why don't you close us out, Creative, with the bug report?
Yeah, so we're not going to spend an hour talking through all the bugs, but we did have some posts in Discord on some ones that I missed, that I didn't remember, and a guy by the name of Lonwyr, I'm not sure, Lonwyr, actually reminded me of one where when you're doing Blitz Sim, you have the team selection screen and the opponents. When you're clicking through that and winning and winning and winning, the points and milestone don't actually update. You have to kind of go into the team select and really pick a team, or go out and come in for that to update. So that's another good one. I remember seeing that the other day, like, wait, I just did a whole blitz cycle. Why am I still with this score? So that's another good one.
One that I saw related to this is very similar, but you know how when your first cycle, you're blowing through the milestones, right? And it fills the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sometimes fills multiple bars because you did a early one that gives you a whole bunch of points. I was doing it, and every time it would calculate from 0 to where I was. And it kept doing that. So it looked weird because I was like, why is that moving down there? I'm done. It was one of the blue and red. You need like 200,000, right? So pretty quickly you hit it. But it kept doing it, like filling it through 10 or 12 milestones. I'm like, what's going on down there? So I don't know how I got into that, but there seems to be something funky going on with the bar that displays the score. It's what I think.
Yeah.
So
they're not refreshing that when they're refreshing the opponents and your team. So, okay. Well, we went actually quite a bit longer than we were expecting. Again, we were prepared for a 3-hour ordeal of talking about all the awesome things that are coming. And instead we got Doom War, which we won't be in for 6 months. And,
speaking of that, when did they do that roadmap? Was it February?
Yes.
Last year?
Yes.
So they're due, and that's what we thought, right, when they said this. But
yeah.
Okay, we'll hopefully they'll put one of those out so that we can then see how long it's going to take for us to get all that stuff.
Yep. Good. Okay. Well, certainly interesting stuff happening in the game. As always, you can continue the conversation by joining us on Discord. The Ragnarok public Discord server is listed in the show notes. Come by, say hi. We've got 3 channels of goodness for you. Just to kind of a general chat, one where you can log some questions for us to answer on the show, and then our infographics. You can also leave us an Apple 5-star review, and if it's a country that we don't have, or you don't hear us review that, please tell Frid, and he will work his magic and get that added into our feeds so that we can review those reviews. And then, of course, old school method. You can send us an email at rngingame@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. And, of course, we're on all of your favorite podcast apps. All right, Frid, anything else?
I think you got it all.
All right. Well, stay safe. Stay healthy.
We'll talk next week.